Hey, how y'all doing today? So this video is going to basically be me metal detecting a church. However, I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a context to what's actually going to go down. Firstly, I was at this property maybe 1 or 2 years ago with my Technetics T2, but I was doing the sidewalk strips only because I hadn't actually been able to talk to anybody on the property and I didn't want to jump on property without permission. So I did the sidewalk strips out in front. Actually pulled a silver mercury dime out of there. I remember pulling that dime and a few Wheaties. Well, fast forward about another year. This was about a month and a half ago, and I had the Equinox 800, and I went back out there to see if I had missed anything. Well, after pulling about maybe 4 or 5 wheat pennies, the pastor actually came out, and I waved at her and smiled, and she waved back at me. So I took that as a hey, let's go approach. So I went over and talked to her, and she was super nice, and I just basically the laid line, can I metal detect the property? I'll be really nice with everything. You won't even know I'm here, that kind of thing. And she's like, sure, absolutely. Just do me a favor and do it after Bible study. I don't want people thinking something's going on, during the morning, afternoon. I was like, sure, I'll be here after 5 till dark or whatnot. So that's what I did. I ended up going back there every few hours every other day or so. So we're going to see there's a couple hunts from that. And this property, while it definitely was metal detected before, you could totally tell it had been metal detected because there was an extreme lack of signals higher than a quarter, except in like 2 spots. Everything else was low. So someone had definitely gone through and cherry picked it. But it was still a lot of really good stuff out of here. I still pulled some silver and I still pulled some really old stuff. So, and I actually got a bucket lister out of here. Actually, probably 2, I could call it 2 bucket listers. So, this is going to be one of my, first videos on this channel, and I definitely wanted to put this all together. And it's about, like I said, 5 or 6 hunts, and at the end, I'll wrap you up with a whole bunch of my relics from the property, okay? So, enjoy. All right, I got me the nice 30-31 signal. I'm at a church. I got permission just now. The pastor's super nice and looky. Not 5 minutes later. I can't see through the viewfinder, so hopefully you can see what I'm pointing at. But it looks like I'm finally broke my silver quarter streak for the year. I haven't had a silver quarter all year, and it looks like I got it. Thank you, Lord. Alright, still working this church. I thought I had a clad quarter. It's pretty shallow, and I don't know if you can see this, but it looks like we have a small ring. So it's got a little bit of a smash to it, but hey, that's silver. I'm pretty stoked about that. It looks good. Okay, textbook hit. 2627 right here, and we have a Merc 1941. I'll take it. So I got a 1314. I was hoping for a nickel, maybe a buffalo. I'm in a pretty old spot, and where's it at? I pulled it right here, and it came out just like this. It just barely wiped. So because it looks so clean, when it's that deep down, probably about 4 inches, there's probably a war nickel. And yep, 43 P. It's my first war nickel in a while. I hardly find them, so I'm pretty stoked about that. All right, I cannot believe it. Out of this right here, I dug a nickel, hoping for like a buffalo or something, and I pulled a V nickel. And the date is in 1889. I don't know if you can see that, but that is my first 1800s nickel. Oh my God, I am stoked. It is awesome. Wow, this place just keeps amazing me. I'll come back with more, hopefully. All right, the Equinox does it again. This thing rang up a 19. And it is looks like another war nickel because of how clean it is. And yep, 1945. This thing is killing the war nickels. And it looks like it's another P, but that is crusted on there. So there might be something else in the hole with it, but this thing definitely rang up 19. Like the last one rang up 17, but there's 2 Wheaties with it. So who knows what could be around this bad boy, but I'm stoked. Silver. Alright, so I'm back out here again, and I just dug this, and I pulled out a very crusty Indian head penny. Now, you can't tell hardly anything except you see the 1 cent in the back, but the front is toasty, so I'm going to have to tumble this bad boy to even hopefully get a date on it. Hopefully it's 1800s, but we'll see. But I love finding these. I never really find them. Alright, I'm still working at it at this church for the last couple days, and I'm in the back now where the old church used to sit, and I guess a house was, because we found a lot of house trash. But I am absolutely amazed. See, I pulled this piece of, I guess, marble rock out, and I pulled a spoon, but it's not just any spoon. It says the name Bridget on it. And I figured if they, you know, put that on there, put the name of somebody, that has to be Sterling. And sure enough, it says right there, Sterling. So, this is my first Sterling silver spoon. I'm beyond excited. I've never pulled a Sterling spoon before. I've pulled plated ones all the time. I say all the time, but enough. But this is my first Sterling spoon, so I am stoked. Wow, this is a great find. Can't wait to clean this up. You know, it just goes to show, never quit. Because I haven't really gotten anything good for about 3 hours now. I started the day off with, I think it's an old button, but I can't tell. And then come around here, out back, and there really isn't much here except for, got a high 26, 27. The last couple have been electrical crap, wire. But there it is. Wow, that thing's in really good shape too. The reverse is no mint mark. 1942. I'll take it. All right. So just when you think that you're not going to get any more silver, I wasn't even anticipating it. I was just looking for old stuff. I got a deep 27, and looky what pops. It looks like a Merc. Yep, it's a Merc. Wow, that's an old one too. 1923. Ooh, this thing's been sitting in some water. Look at that staining on the reverse. Probably from all the grass roots, but I'm stoked to have it. I love getting these old ones. All right, so here's the finds from the church. And like I said, it was a very small church. About 20 by 20 and 20 by 30, and then I got that little field in the back. Surprisingly enough, that field was pretty barren. It was just a lot of that wire from they built the fence around it, so I guess whoever built the fence decided to throw all their extra wire in the field. Really kind of aggravated me, but you know, you win some, you lose some. And you could definitely tell the church was cherry picked, because there should be no reason why there's this many wheat pennies, and I only dug one clad quarter, one silver quarter, and that silver ring that rang up as a 29, so it sounded like a quarter. There was literally no other quarter signals. So the chances are it's probably been hit before, most likely without permission, because everything was still in the ground. They just went to the high signals, so who knows what could have came out of there beforehand, but whatever. Like I said, I got 60 wheat pennies, the oldest being two 1919s, which makes sense since the church was built in 1926, and the new church that's on top of it was built in 1961. So they demolished the old church, built a new one on top of it, and moved around dirt, which will explain a lot of the older finds I found that were pretty shallow, but it also could explain why there's not so many targets, because they're probably hauled off in some dirt or whatnot. But hey, can't beat it. Let's say 60 wheat pennies. I have a un centesimo. See if you can see this. From Panama, 1937. It's actually pretty good because it's pretty rare in terms of mintage. So I'm wondering if someone in the military went to Panama for whatever deployment and brought that back. Got a Girl Scout pin. Good old GS. Got a Bobcat Cub Scouts pin. Looks like a little hem weight that's been kind of chewed up, ate up a little bit. Got a flat button, and this one is beat to heckin' back. I can't tell even what it says. I see an O and a D, but everything else is pretty beat crap. I tried everything possible to get anything off here. Maybe an Andre's pencil will pull something out, but I even doubt that. So that thing definitely was rolled around a little bit in some fill dirt. Got a flattened penny. Sounded like an Indian head because it rang up 1920, but it could just be a Wheatie that's just been smashed thin. So that could explain some stuff. Have a little gold guy holding up something. I don't know what it was from. Gold plated, so the thing rang up like copper. This is a really cool find. It was actually my first lead soldier with a head. The last two I found have been headless. I guess the head's the easy part that comes off. Now a piece of the sword's missing and the base is kind of eaten away a little bit, but for the most part it's pretty intact, and it's my first one that's been mostly intact like that, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I wish it would stand up, but hey, it does. But yeah, lead soldier. Got a little cuff button. I think this one was plated at some point, silver plated, because you can barely see the silver plating coming out of it, and it's, feels quality. Definitely some copper. I have a suspender clip that I tried to clean up. I don't want to throw this in the tumbler because it looks a little fragile. This part broke off just by pulling it out of the hole, but it's definitely copper of some sort. And another one right here. This one's got the sword and then a pike, an axe, and a knight head. So it looks like it might have been plated at one point because I see a little bit of silver coming through there. But I figured that was pretty cool. I like that. Pulled this out. It looks like a reins guide. Not reins guide, but a bridle. Piece for a bridle, horse tack. So this is my first one from this site, so I was pretty stoked to pull that out. This floored me. This, I don't know if you're aware of this, but this is looks like a button or maybe a coin. I can't get any detail off it. I've been trying for a long time. It looks like whatever it is a date right here, but I can't read it. I've been trying every way possible to get it, but it's just too far gone. It looks like, if I had to take a guess, it was a halfpenny or something that was converted into a whizzer. And a whizzer is where they put ribbon or string through these two holes and then twist it like this. And that's why they cut these little notches on the edge so it makes a little whiz sound when they do it. They've been doing this since colonial times, all the way through the 1800s, so who knows to date it. That's why I was hoping to find out if it's a coin, if I can get a date off it, but I can't. If you have any options to get this thing, the crud off of it, to maybe potentially read it, besides an Andre's pencil, I'd be all over it, but that's the best I could clean it. Got another button. Doesn't look too old. Probably 40s or something. And the two Indian heads that I really liked, I found two other ones. They were a 1907 and 1905, but I pulled a 1900 right here that cleaned up to be pretty decently cleaned up. And this one was one I really liked. You'll see the one that I couldn't clean off, that I couldn't see in the field in the video. It's this one. It's an 1893. So I pulled an 1800s penny out of here as well. And not only did I get an 1800 cent, I got that 1889 V-nickel. So pretty stoked I was able to pull out both of these, get in the 1800s a little bit. I pulled out a few of these. Looks like a railroad bale seals, lead. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 if this one's one. Along with the musket ball. I definitely pulled a round ball. And this thing has been fired because it's obviously been smashed a little bit, but that is definitely a round ball. I would measure the width of it, but since it's been kind of smashed, I would assume it's a 58 caliber, like most of them were. So, at least in the area. Got an old Ford key. So, that was pretty cool. I don't know if you can see that. Definitely got to work on some better lighting. Maybe do this outside. But it says 63 on it, so old Ford key. A angel on something. I don't know. It looks like a little buckle of some sort. But it's definitely an angel on there. And it's kind of decorative, so it's pretty cool. Razor blade handle. First one of those I pulled out. And actually in a long time. And you can still see a lot of the brass coming through. So I really like that one. Along with the buckle. Looks like horse tack. Or maybe just a belt. Probably 40s or 50s. And then a silver plated spoon. This is a W.M. Rogers silver plate. Really nice one. I really like collecting these spoons, especially the Rogers ones. Usually early 1900s, but hey, I'm down. And then the bucket lister, I had to put it, I know you saw in the video. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this little piece of sterling I found as well. Since we're talking about silver, a little sterling. And my bucket lister, the silver spoon. I've been looking for years for a silver spoon. This is probably like at the top 5 of my bucket list. I've seen people dig them before. Usually when they dig them, they're in pieces. You know, they'll get like the bowl only or the handle only. I haven't really seen any of these that have been dug complete like this. So I was super stoked to dig it. And the fact that it's got a name on it, the sterling, I think it says patent. Yeah, sterling patent, and the hallmark. Couldn't believe it. I'm still, completely floored. Probably one of my favorite finds I've ever found. This is definitely in my, going to be in my shadow box. Love this find, and that's about it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'll try not to keep it too long next time, and I'll try to get better light so you can see a lot more of these finds. And I'll catch y'all later, okay?